from the CCV International Track Challenge at the Bellville track this afternoon. The last time we had a similar race was 18 months ago, when South Africa trailed in a rather dismal third behind the teams of Belgium and Britain. But today with us is the manager of the Danish team, Mr. Kim Refshammer. Kim, it's a strong-looking outfit. What can we expect from your team today?
I really don't know. We haven't seen the competition of the South African yet, but we've been here for a week and we have done some good training, and everybody is in good form, and they like the disciplines they're traveling in. Maybe in sprint we might not be the best, but I think the other disciplines will find nice.
And after the meeting, where to for the team?
We have a competition called Open Dination in Paris in the middle of October, where the 8 best worlds go together, and we use this race here as preparation for the race in Paris.
Well, I'm sure that'll be great preparation, thanks to Kim Refshammer. And with us now we have the team manager, the South African outfit, Dave Weisman. Last year he managed the team. Today, I hope it'll be a more committed effort.
John, I think it was really a pretty committed effort. I think the biggest problem was that it was our first time back in international track racing. And again, there was formidable opposition. The Belgians were very strong, and the British, it was a large part of their pursuit team. We're using 2 or 3 of the riders from that last test match, and most of the guys here are all the guys who rode at the World Champs in Oslo a few weeks back. So they should have reasonable form, and particularly in the sprint events, we hope to steal some early points.
And they've learnt a lot abroad, I take it.
I think so. A couple of the riders spent time in Belgium again now, so they will have form. Unfortunately, we're out of our track season, so they had to get their racing overseas. But we're hoping for a good performance. The Danes are particularly strong in the points and bunch races, so we're looking for a hard ride there. But if we can get early points on the board, we're in with a chance of holding them off.
And a guy like Willy Engelbrecht, would he have made today's team if he was eligible?
I think yeah, he's world class, particularly in road or track, provided he has time to prepare. At the moment they're riding the road racing, and he would be out of form and without speed legs here that he'd need. But yes, given 2 or 3 months preparation, yes, surely he would be very much a strong contender for a team like this.
And Euronational selector, was he considered, him and Francie Kruger?
No, the basic use here was an amateur team, and we used guys with track form. They basically, without track form at the moment, they're basically only riding roads, so at this stage we're unable to use them.
Well, we'll watch our trackies this afternoon, and good luck.
Thanks very much, John.
Well, that was the views of Dave Weisman. You've now seen the Danish manager and Dave Weisman with their comments. There are 2 other teams riding this afternoon, a CCV development squad, and there's a junior national side racing. There are 5 events in which points are awarded towards a final tally, just to determine who the overall victors are of the test match this afternoon. There's a sprint, elimination race, a Madison, a points race, and an Italian pursuit, which is one of the more interesting events. With me, we have Theo van Ruben, an ex-Eastern Province captain, and a gold medalist at the World Masters Games in Australia this year. One of the more interesting races of track riding is the Devil Take the Hindmost, as it was earlier called. These days referred to as an elimination event for the very reason that it actually runs backwards. What they're doing here is the bunch goes around, 4 riders from each team, go around the circuit. Every second lap there's a sprint in which the last man is called off. It'll be quite a hairy event, very dangerous, and we can see the tactics of the national team in the green and gold colors, the seniors, blocking the front, and the Danes are starting to get in between them now.
The race actually takes place, as you said, at the back, Johnny, and at the front it's a lot easier to ride than ride this from the back. And on a track this size, one has got to try and stay in the front as long as possible and avoid elimination.
We see one of the Danish riders has just been called off there. That's their number 5, which is Flemming Trøjgaard, 24-year-old Dane. That's a good one for the local team, as one of the Danes is called off.
What one would always do in a race like this is maybe sacrifice a rider or try and force him out at the back.
Now it's the turn of one of the junior national riders to be called off. That's rider number 18, Dwayne Cass, a Southern Transvaaler, born only in 1976.
We see the South Africans leading out again, coming back round into the home straight. And who's going to be off this lap?
Next lap, it's the next lap, and whoops, no, that's rider number 19 that's coming off there. That's Pierre-Henry Olivier, who's been replaced by Simon Henderson in today's match, another Southern Transvaaler. The elimination works on every other lap. They eliminate one of the riders, the last man in the bunch, and we see them coming around here. One of the junior national riders, no, it's a development man in trouble. Rider number 25, as far as we can see, it should be called off at this point. We'll wait for the officials. They line up again. Tight stuff now as they come around that, and there's a bit of a shove with one of the national guys against a Danish rider. And this must be the turn here of number 20, who is Mario Nel of the development team. No, he's still in. Down the back straight they go. There are 4 of the national team left, 3 Danes. The development men still have their riders there, so it's taken the toll of the junior box. It's Robbie Dale leading out here for South Africa.
The South Africans go away, and a very good move by South Africa. The Danes go into the chase.
Denmark counters there, and in the form of one of their top men here with one of our national team behind. This looks exciting as Robbie Dale streaks away there. Frederik Bertelsen going after him for Denmark, and behind him it's Malcolm Lange who's counted there on behalf of Robbie Dale. One of the CCV development riders counters, and again it's Moerman Welgemoed behind him in 5th place. Very promising looking for the local national team here.
The whole team's back together again. The Danes are trapped at the back.
Eliminating there. Just been called off is Nicholas Legatle of the CCV development team. He's right at the back of the picture. 2 laps from now and another lap and they'll eliminate again. This wasn't an elimination lap.
The Danes go to the front and they start to control the race with the South African going away again.
Now this is where it gets crucial. The last man in the peloton is one of the CCV development riders. He'll have to improve if he wants to come across to win this one. The Devil takes the last man. Don't forget the race is at the back of the bunch here. And it looks like, whoopsie, and that is Faisal Hendricks of the CCV development team, who this time gets the chop.
We've still got 5 South African riders in there and 3 Danes, so we've got the numerical superiority at this stage.
I see the Devil's taken its toll of the development riders, but not of the national team so far. They're all intact. Now this is a crucial lap again. The Devil waits with his chopper. Precariously positioned there is Herman Marx, the Northern Transvaal in the junior national team.
Danes go to the front again, trying to control this race. The best thing to do is to try and ride this race from the front as far as possible. As you said just now, the race is run from the back.
Oh, and a junior man in trouble there. That's number 17. Is it Herman Marx of Northern Transvaal? Dangerously placed on the lap before. Is it his turn this time? We'll see who they call off. Nope, they're calling off his teammate.
Danes to the front again. First move we've seen by the Danes. At the front, they're trying to control this race desperately as they do not have the numerical superiority.
Another lap before they eliminate again, and it's Herman Marx again, number 17, who looks to be in big trouble. They've just called off his teammate David George of Western Province as well, but this is an elimination lap.
I think this is going to be a Denmark-South African final 2 laps. I don't think the other guys are going to make the end.
And it's a CCV rider. It's Mario Nel who's been called off in the white colors, the last man across the line. The Devil will certainly chop him here.
We certainly see just green and Danish jerseys on the road at the moment.
4 of the senior team, 3 Danes and 1 of the CCV riders. Yeah, they've called off Nel. That's the end of him. Now it's a duel between our national team in the green and gold and the Danes in their familiar red and white colors.
Wait a bit, Johnny, we've still got a junior in there.
Now the tactics are on. We can see the 3 national team members hogging the front. It's very difficult, and there's some shoving at the back of the bunch with Malcolm Lange and one of the Danish riders. And this, whoa. That could be Lars Otto Olsen of Denmark, or it could be the junior Springbok left with him.
It's a junior Springbok tacking now.
Well, I think the best way to convince the judges, Theo, that you haven't been called off is to go right to the front. It's like a leg before.
Certainly.
Non-elimination lap this, but now they're starting to jockey. The best positions right near the front here. It's very difficult to improve position in an elimination lap. Moerman Welgemoed looks to be in big trouble at the back. Let's watch what he does here. Got a teammate, Robbie Dale, on the inside. It's Welgemoed right at the back. 3 Danes, 4 of our national team. And whose turn will it be this time? Whoops, no, that's Welgemoed.
Moerman Welgemoed, that's a blow for South Africa. That's one of the better Devil riders we have in this country.
Bit like Agatha Christie here. Now there are 3 of our local national team and 3 Danes left.
3 Danes, 3 South Africans. Who's going to be out?
Interesting what tactics they'll employ here. We'll have to keep an eye. The local team, national side, getting to the front, which is the best. Whoops, and there's an attack in the form of Fleming Trooigaard from Denmark. Watch him go right around the top there. Woof.
2 more eliminations, and then we got the last 3.
But beautifully counted here by, is it Malcolm Lange leading out for South Africa? That's Malcolm Lange, very composed since his overseas campaign. I'll call off here rider number 6, Frederik Bertelsen.
Bearing in mind these riders are getting very, very tired now. It's a sprint every single lap, and each sprint gets more and more difficult.
And as Burgess has gone away now, he's gone away on his own. There's a counter from the Danish team. The national team very, very well poised. 3 riders, there are 2 Danes left, and they can work over the opposition in this one.
With 3 riders left, the bell will ring, and they will contest first, second, and third.
And who will it be? This is an elimination lap. Oh, it's going to be Burgess. It's going to be Burgess by the looks of it, which certainly squares things once again. One to come off before they contest the finish.
We're coming up with one more elimination and then the bell.
Let's look at the tactics. It's Malcolm Lange in for South Africa. Robbie Dale with him as well in going over the top there. And the 2 Danes left are their specialist Madison riders. Robbie Dale goes across. Malcolm Lange is in the back and the 2 Danes stuck in between.
We're going to get the elimination here now and the bell at the same time.
And it's Dale for South Africa. Watch Lange come right around the top, and that's 2-1, and this is one race we can't lose.
That's what we really needed. Now we've got the 2-1 advantage, as John said.
No bell yet, and we'll see if the Dane will attack, but it should be the job of the local riders, and he's bunching them right up there, but he gets a shove back from Robbie Dale.
The Dane is certainly doing the right thing. When in doubt, lead out.
That Fleming Troygaard, is that number 4? Did you pick it up there, Theo, as he came past?
That was him.
That's Troygaard in the front, Dale in the middle, and it's Malcolm Lange behind. Troygaard has to lead out. He dare not get one in front and one behind him. Troygaard leads out with Dale behind him, and it's Malcolm Lange in 3rd place.
He's certainly doing the right thing. He's going from the front on a short track like this, dead right.
Malcolm Lange is he the man who's going to win, but Dale on the inside, Dale, Lange, and Troygaard's going to hold them off. Troygaard's going to hold them off magnificently with it looks like Lange 2nd and Robbie Dale in 3rd place. But a magnificent performance from the local team.
Certainly wasn't intimidated there, John, by 2-1 advantage.
Strange tactics. Usually 2 riders to 1 would attack just before the finish, but riders elected to wait around with Troygaard, possibly thinking they could beat him in the finish, but it wasn't to be.
He went up against the banking in the back straight and held out the 2 riders. Our 2 riders are forced out on the outside, and he took the advantage. That was what he had to do to win.
Well, you're not the twice Danish champion for no reason, a team pursuiter, but he certainly's got a turn of speed here. Well, that devil, the very exciting devil, left South Africa and Denmark square, with junior South African CCV without points. Now for the big guns. On the grandstand side of the circuit here, the national senior team. On the opposite side of the track, we've got the Danish quartet. It all goes about time. We'll find out soon what the junior national team lodged as a time, but I'm certain that this will be a lot faster. For South Africa, we've got Wayne Burgess, we've got Moorman Velgemoot, Robbie Dale, and Malcolm Lange riding for South Africa in this match, which on the other side the Danes are riding. Their quartet is, they race to opposite markers of the track, so it's a race across the 2 sides of the track, and the fastest team obviously wins it.
One always puts your sprinter on the first lap, and as they go down the quartet, you'll get the guys that ride a lot harder towards the back, the stayers. They would be on the last of the foursome.
Unusual move by the national team here to put Wayne Burgess in. He's not renowned as a sprinter. The Danes have opted for Bertelsen, Frederik Bertelsen, who's much more of a sprinter-looking rider than Burgess, and we can see they're ahead already.
Certainly an advantage to get a good lead.
Let's watch. The national team appears to be a little bit ahead here of the Danes. We'll watch the opposite markings on the track. The first team across wins it, and no, Denmark slightly ahead of the national team again as they come around.
You've got the Danes in the top of your picture and the South African team in the bottom of the picture.
Moorman Velgemoot riding for South Africa in the bottom picture. It's Kenneth Robke, the fast man of Denmark, representing them on the 2nd lap.
It's also unusual. You normally put a very hard rider in the 2nd place because he's got to chase that first rider down.
Robbie Dale for South Africa in 3rd position there, or in 2nd in his little group. Moorman Velgemoot leading. As they go around now, it looks to me that it's quite even. Maybe the South African team is... No, it's quite even.
To me, it looks like the Danes won the toss and they've opted to ride with the wind in the start.
Now let's see Robbie Dale. He's up here against the man who won the devil magnificently earlier. It's Fleming Troygaard for Denmark at the top of the picture. Watch Troygaard.
Danes in front.
This is going to be a nail-biting finish here. It's Troygaard and Dale. neck and neck, but Dale's well ahead of Troy Gardner. He's destroying the Danish rider.
I certainly think the South African squad in the bottom of your picture are ahead.
Let's watch Malcolm Lange as he takes over to handle this last leg of this relay for South Africa. On the opposite side of the track, it's Beckham Christensen for Denmark. The first time he's raced today, and it's Lange well ahead. We have a lead of 30-40 meters.
I certainly think the Dane is struggling in the top of the picture. He's way, way down with a guy like Malcolm Lange on this side of the track doing a tremendous job for South Africa.
Perhaps a bad tactic, as they seem to swap the sprinter Robko with initially Bertelsen, who was going to ride first, but it's South Africa with Malcolm Lange looking tremendous here to go on to win this one.
South Africa takes it.
Great applause here from the local crowd as Malcolm Lange leads the national team home.
Johnny, I certainly question the composition of that team and the way it was put together by Kim, the Danish manager. The lineup was not exactly as we would have chosen it.
Yeah, it seemed to me that Robko was put in too late in the lineup. Normally your sprinter goes off quite early, but this time they ran Robko last, and I don't think he had the legs for it.
I certainly would have run Robko first.
Well, after 2 of the 5 events, South Africa's taken the lead. They're now 2 points ahead of Denmark, with the junior Springboks and the CCV development team still without score. Now the first round of the 1,000-meter match sprint final. After 2 earlier rounds and an elimination round where it was decided on time, 2 riders have come up against each other. Alan Irvin in the bottle green and the light yellow colours of the national South African team against the junior J.P. van Zyl, one of our prolific hopes, a future man who might well win a gold medal at the World Championships later this year.
Certainly, Johnny, and this is probably the 2 fastest men in track cycling in South Africa today. Certainly, I think maybe a little bit faster on J.P. van Zyl, looking at Alan Irvin getting himself ready there.
The race goes over 1,000 meters, but the viewers will note that the first 3 laps are usually done at quite a timid pace. They jockey for positions. Every sprinter really has his optimal distance, and of course the advantage is being at the back or behind the leader, so that you can always keep an eye on him without having to glance over your shoulder.
The other reason that they're riding along at the bottom of the track is that he only has to look, well, that is the leading rider, only has to look over his one shoulder, not both shoulders. They cannot ride very slowly in that steep banking that you see on the screen.
That's J.P. van Zyl in front, jockeying quite carefully. Behind him, Alan Irvin, a lot more experienced, a lot older man. Representing South Africa for the 2nd time. He went to the World Senior Championships earlier, didn't make our Olympic team, but went fairly well in the match sprint at the World Champs.
This could certainly be a South African sprint final. These are certain. Oh, and down goes J.P. van Zyl.
Sorry about that. Yeah, as we saw earlier, when Sean Lynch, the favourite to win the sprint here, slipped down, fell over Greg Albrecht, an Italian who had slipped down the banking. Almost catastrophe again here for J.P. van Zyl.
In a case like this, there's an immediate re-ride given.
There we see van Zyl obviously going a little bit too slowly, and there he slips down, as did Lynch earlier. And let's just see, no, at least Irvin stays on his bicycle, doesn't go over him as Lynch did with Albrecht in the earlier rounds.
He just lost adhesion on those thin tyres on that steep banking and came sliding down. Fortunately, he didn't bring the other rider down.
Van Zyl's fortunately okay. They'll restart the sprint immediately. Team manager Tony Roberts with him in the white shirt there as J.P. van Zyl gets ready to restart.
Reassuring his rider there, Tony Roberts, giving him a bit of encouragement. It's always a blow to fall off just before a sprint final like this.
Some riders could be unnerved by this, and I think others might well benefit. A little adrenaline rush there could just be the injection you need at this stage.
Certainly, John.
That's van Zyl close up. Man who looks to be set to win a medal for us at the World Championships. Will be the first medal we've won since being readmitted after a 30-year isolation. Our thumbs are held for him in Australia later this year.
Yes, he'll be riding at the Junior World Championships in Perth, Western Australia, and they leave next week on Wednesday.
And on the centre of the track, on the white line, it's Alan Irvin, the Southern Transvaaler, representing South Africa in the sprint, the senior team. So it's junior versus senior. The Danish team were unfortunately eliminated by virtue of a poor ride time-wise on the first round, and then they got beaten in the next round.
Interesting looking at Alan Irvin riding a disc wheel at the back. He's opted for this because he believes that he's got a nice rolling action and he doesn't need to jump away like it'd have to do if there was a sudden spurt of speed. He's going to get the speed up and hold it.
Well, his tactics would have to be a smooth effort, then he'd have to accelerate up, roll into the sprint instead of jumping away here, if I get you correctly there.
That's quite right. Normally we would see a pursuit or a time trialist using this sort of equipment, but it's become more and more common in bunch races and sprinting in the international cycling scene.
Well, that's 2 laps to go now. And remember, this is a small track. It's only 250 meters in length. So the last lap is usually done totally flat out against where the big circuits, they go quite slowly and then jump with a lap to go.
Yes, this track is really small. It's only 250 meters.
That's Irvin leading out there. JP van Zyl, the youngster behind him, and there goes JP. Well, now he goes right over the top instead of cutting through the bottom. Van Zyl has the advantage. It's incredibly difficult to pass a man, but he's been outfoxed by Irvin. This looks like a foregone conclusion, but there comes Van Zyl in the back straight. It's Irvin, it's Van Zyl behind him. It's Alan Irvin for South Africa Senior, JP van Zyl for South Africa Junior, and Irvin's going to hold him off. That's Alan Irvin. Tremendous advantage of being first into the last banking. Seldomly does a rider pass another.
JP probably opted for the wrong thing to do, looking at the inside there, and Irvin closed the door on him. He couldn't get through.
Well, that was a tremendous ride here from Alan Irvin. Used the disc wheel to great result. Certainly didn't let JP van Zyl get the better of him, but let's take a look in slow motion. That's Alan Irvin. He goes into the last banking of the race here. JP looked for an inside gap. It wasn't going to come off for him. He tried to cut inside, but Alan Irvin certainly knows how to handle that one and was a convincing winner. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment.
Laps to go, and there's a lull in the race. Something's going to happen. Somebody's got to attack soon. I don't think they'll wait this long for a sprint.
What can also happen, though, of course, is that the supporting riders from the 2 leading teams can assist them rather than to try and attack them, which could become the norm. There's an attack from Jan van der Berg riding that very, very radical machine of his. It's almost like an ironing board with 2 wheels, and he's looked good today. He's riding with Mario Nel in this one for the CCV development team, but watch the change. One slings the other in, and you get the snake-like effect where you lose your momentum, and of course the guy going in gains the momentum with a sling.
This development team has certainly been the animators in this race today. They've taken the bull by the horns and they've attacked whenever there was a possible chance.
Mario Nel riding with Van der Berg there in the white jersey leading. He's a former national 1500 meter champion and a points race champion, so he's quite a versatile rider, but I think he's running out of legs.
This man's just come off the road, Johnny. I don't think he's running out of legs at this stage. He's extremely fit.
Yet we seem to be more zippy today than the Danish riders look here. Do you think the weather could be affecting them?
Certainly. They come from the northern climes where it's a lot hotter. This is Africa, and they're not used to this heat at all.
Well, back to the racing now. It's Robbie Dale in the green and gold colors at the front, leading the Danish pair of that's Sonstad and is it Olsen in the regular Danish colors. A sling there to his mate, and that's in. Now comes Robbie Dale.
Robbie Dale has just put in, he's come in, that's the Danish rider leading the pack at the moment in the traditional Danish colors.
And now it's Malcolm Lange for South Africa in the green and gold at the front. Don't forget that he's a lap ahead with his teammate Moelman Welgemoot, and on the same lap is the pair in the red and white colors of Denmark. It's Flemming Troegaard and Beckham Christensen.
Both the South Africans and the Danes have got riders left in this race, so there'll be a fair amount of blocking and tactics to keep their riders in the race and not another lap being taken by an outside team, namely that of the junior team that's still in there.
Well, the action has to come shortly. There are only 15 laps to go, and that means 4 kilometers on a small circuit, and there it comes. That's in the form of Denmark again.
That's awesome.
Well, there's been an attack here from the Danish pair, immediately countered by one of the Springbok teams, and he's that Wayne Burgess at the front now trying to streak away. Blocking behind him, it's Moelman Welgemoot. It's Wayne Burgess ahead. Welgemoot obviously holding back a bit for his teammate. It's up to the Danes to cross that. Riding away there, it's Wayne Burgess, the man who won the Argus Tour earlier this year.
Wayne Burgess certainly going away, looking slowly. I think the legs are really drained at this stage. They're tired, it's hot.
It's been a long day. It actually looks a bit like slow motion, but I'm sure they'll get the turbochargers on in a second and start flying.
Something else here, Johnny. At this stage of the race, those reactions are very, very slow, and it's often a crash at this stage in a race like this.
Well, the tactics are going to play a great role here as they regroup, but don't forget there are still 2 teams ahead. It's the Welgemoot Lange team, and of course the Danish pair of Troegaard and Christensen in the red and white colors. Right near the back, that's the Danish pair of Troegaard Christensen, red and white near the top of the track. And we've got Lange, and we've got
my apology. 11 laps to go. The race is slowing down again.
Still holding on there. No big action. No big action, but the Danes are controlling the racing at the front. They look as if they've got something up their sleeve.
I certainly think the Danes will be in extreme danger in a finish like this. They know how to change. It's critical to where you throw your sprinter in or where the sprint starts, and they've got an enormous amount of experience in this sort of racing.
And once again, we've got that CCV team of, that's Mario Nel, and we've got Johan van der Berg, but it's Nel riding for them now, trying a little attack, but I think these guys are quite tired. Van der Berg comes in now.
There's a lot of method in the madness of Nel and coming away there. They're playing on the tactic that the Danes or the South Africans might not chase them and they can steal away and win this race.
Well, it's going to be a tactical finish. There's no big racing, only 9 laps to go. We'll see the rider not contesting the race as part of the team waits either on top of the track, as this rider seems to be doing. That's Dwayne Cass, the youngster from the junior Springbok team, or is that JP van Zyl? No, that's van Zyl. That's JP resting. He comes in now, rolls in. They're going to put him in and watch the change. Looks back for his teammate.
He's actually coming in on the wrong side of this track. You're supposed to dawdle and rest around the inside like you see that South African rider at the back.
Now that's unusual tactics. We'll see the Danes and our top national team will change from the inside. The slow rider circulates around the inside, whereas the junior nationals went around the outside slowly.
One has got to be very careful in doing that because that causes a big consternation. It's a very dangerous thing to do because you're running into riders that are backing up and you going double the speed. You'd easily cause a crash.
Well, in fact, they could be penalized. It's in the rules that you've got to change from the slow man being on the inside, but there's an attack now. There they go. It's Denmark stretching out. It's the leading pair of of Trooigaard and Christensen. Tremendous attack, but Velgemoed counters for South Africa in the green jersey. Up the banking they go, and now will it be the next Danish pair to have a go again? But don't forget they're a lap behind the leaders that we've just seen at the top of the track.
This race is almost over. There are 5 laps to go. This is only 2.5 kilometers to go.
And yet another attack, but it's Johan van der Berg in the white jersey that streaks away there for the CCV development team. He's a lap behind with the other 4 teams. That's van der Berg on that unusual machine of his.
A very good move, yeah. He'll take line on us, but he certainly won't win the race at this rate. He's a lap behind.
Well, he might try and lap them, and then he's back in the running, but there he's got a change with Mario Nel. It's Nel going in, number 20. 20 Nel going in. He's ridden very well today. Certainly in deep water here, but he's not been disgraced at all.
There's the French-coloured Danish rider again. This could be the winning move. This could certainly be the winning move.
And there's Sonstad going after the Van der Berg train now. Van der Berg flying around, but Sonstad going after him. But don't forget, they're a lap down, and that's Robbie Dale in response.
Robbie Dale chases him. He takes up the chase, and it's still Nel in front.
But there's the change again now from the leading pair. In comes Johan van der Berg. But Sonstad passes him for Denmark. Don't forget, these 2 teams are a lap down, and they're trying desperately to make up the lap they've lost.
Robbie Dale's in there to counter this. Keep an eye on the back.
Only a lap to go now, and it's Sonstad riding here for Denmark. There goes the bell. 1 lap to go now, and it's Sonstad. It's Van der Berg, and they've all just regrouped as they get down the back.
They're certainly on.
That's Sonstad for Denmark going as they change in the last 50 meters from the finish. Sonstad there, but don't forget they're a lap down here. That's Sonstad.
There comes the winner.
And it's the winner of the race actually was Malcolm Langer. Beat the other pair there. Don't forget that this team was a lap down. They were not the winning team. The winning team was the Danish team in the traditional Danish colors. Remember seeing them in the red and white jerseys. And they left the field earlier at about a 1/3 distance to go with the South African pair of Moorman Velgemoed. Number 7 is the winner of the race there. That would be Malcolm Langer for South Africa. Congratulations there from the other team. They went around, left the field tremendously with the Danish pair of Fleming Trooigaard and Beckham Christensen.
Certainly
After
a good
3
move of
events,
Malcolm.
the South African lead has now been shrunk to only 1 point by Denmark, with 2 positions in the first 3. We'll be back from Bellville in just a moment from now. Final. On the inside, in the national colors, the dark green, Alan Irvin, riding for South Africa in his 2nd cap. Remember, he won the first ride, beat JP van Zyl. Good tactical one. He went earlier and held him off quite comfortably. JP van Zyl, the 18-year-old rider, Southern Transvaal, or actually Western Transvaal to be more precise, has been campaigning abroad in the States for most of the year, and our real hope for the World Junior Championships in Australia later.
He has something different. He's gone right from the gun. This is a turn up for the books. He's taken the bull by the horns and gone the full 4 laps from the front, and he's left his opposition standing at the blocks.
Well, that's a long, long way to go. JP van Zyl certainly a better kilometre time trial rider than is Alan Irvin, so we'll see if he can hold him off. The gap's at least 50 metres, and Irvin's given up. Excellent tactics there from JP van Zyl. Outfoxed Irvin, who's a pure sprinter. We can see he's a lot stronger and beefier man than what JP van Zyl is. So van Zyl's a better stayer, and he's used that ability to the maximum. He gets the bell. It's a foregone conclusion. He can't lose this.
Some very, very good corner advice there for JP van Zyl. Somebody tipped him off on that one and said, you're a better kilometre rider, go from the front. He did just that, and he's won the race. So it's levelled it 1-1.
Well, there's JP van Zyl, who's now forced Alan Irvin into a third ride, acknowledges the crowd there. Very, very cunning rider, tremendous effort.
Well, we don't know what he's going to think goes through his mind now. He's got to think of something different. He's on that disc wheel, he's going to have to use it. He's been beaten, and he's got to think of something else to do.
Well, that's Alan Irvin, caught this time, but he will definitely reverse it in the third ride. Let's take a look at the slow motion of the start. Well, that's Alan Irvin, cuts off onto the grass. Dave Weisman and him will have to have a good chat, but let's take a look at the slow-mo here. That JP van Zyl leaves Alan Irvin, caught him completely off guard, streaks away just to win this one in magnificent fashion.
Bearing in mind there, John, that the guy on the inside has to lead the first lap, and he's opted not to let the guy lead in the front, and he's gone from the front himself. So he cancelled that lead out, and off he went.
Well, that was a great tactical ride. We saw van Zyl outfox him magnificently and force Irvin into a third and deciding ride. Now the third and final leg of the 1,000-metre match sprint. Remember, in the first round, Alan Irvin, in the dark green national colours, outfoxed his younger rival, beat him quite convincingly with lots of power, but in the second ride, that was something different. JP van Zyl jumped away from the gun, which are completely different tactics for this event. Let's see what they do in the third ride.
This is certainly a war of nerves from now on. You've got to try and outsake one of the other riders. Each is going to look at each other very carefully and try and sum up what his chances are going to be.
The whistle goes. This time JP van Zyl going to wait for his elder rival Alan Irvin. Van Zyl, a young man at only 18. Alan Irvin at 25. He's got a national cap, and this is his second ride for South Africa. Let's see what they do.
It's a bit of a needle match here, because you've got the senior cap riding against the junior cap, and it'll always be nice to be winner as the senior cap, so there's a big needle match out there.
And of course Sean Bloch, who's not in the national team today, the national sprint champion, but Irvin's certainly a rough and tumble type of sprinter in the mould of Sean Lynch.
We're looking in the front here. We've got JP in front, leading out.
What do you think they're going to do, Theo? Is JP van Zyl controlling the front, Alan Irvin behind him?
I would think at this stage JP has got a little bit more track craft after all the racing in. There you can see it. Lynch goes to the front straight away. He does not going to take anything in it at all.
Well, Alan Irvin doesn't take or give a quarter. He's certainly dishing out the punishment here to the younger van Zyl. Lots of tactics. Goes down the middle of the track, so van Zyl's got to pick the top or the bottom. They get the bell. Alan Irvin's got the lead, and this is the favourable position on this track. Don't forget, it's only at 250, but there comes JP van Zyl. Will Irvin drift him? Will he stay in the sprinter's lane? The red line that he's inside now. Neck and neck, they're locked together, but it's Alan Irvin. There's a JP, whoopsie, and it's Alan Irvin. Just pips JP van Zyl there. Magnificent showing of the sprinters. Very, very, very good ride. Don't forget, the Danes were eliminated earlier. Take a look at the slow-mo.
That's on the line.
That really was a quarter of a wheel, or half a wheel possibly. They went around the banking. It looked like Irvin was going to hook JP van Zyl upwards, but he had the sprinter's lane, gave him a fair chance, and unfortunately JP van Zyl just didn't have enough legs to win this one.
He certainly edged him out there, John. There was some really magnificent sprinting round the corners.
You don't get it a lot closer than that one.
I think that was really good.
Well, the lack of sprinting legs has cost Denmark dearly. They are now 3 points behind overall the South African team. We'll wait to see the final event whether Denmark can turn the tables on South Africa. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. 30 laps of the initial development where Bertelsen has the lead down the back, but Langer looks as if he's sitting up a bit. Looks quite comfortable on Bertelsen's wheel. Should win this lap, and then he looks like an undisputed winner of this race.
I think Malcolm Lange will just coast in for a second, just score the points, keep putting points on the board, not tiring himself out for that final sprint.
Well, that was Sandstad third again for Denmark, so the Danes scored a second and third on that lap, or a first and a third. But don't forget that the last lap carries double points. The winner of the last lap will get 10 points, then it's 6 for second, 4 for third, and 2 points for fourth. Split in the bunch here, we've got the two Danes with Malcolm Lange away from the peloton, which we can see going through our shot.
This is dangerous for South Africa. It's a 2-to-1 advantage for Denmark here. They can outwit Malcolm Lange, but I think he's far too far up on points.
What they should do to Lange now is take turns to attack him. Lange has to pace, he's got it, and there comes the attack. Sandstad, and he's got Bertelsen with him, and they're the two scorers, don't forget, for Denmark. Lange's our man with points. Where's Robbie Dale?
Robbie Dale's the man that must get up there now. He's got to come in there and bring a few points up for South Africa. As you can see, there's this turn about to attack Malcolm Lange.
That's Lange with the two Danes. Number 3, Sandstad. Number 6, Bertelsen with him. Lange in the middle in the South African colours. Robbie Dale's unfortunately trapped in the bunch about 150 meters behind the peloton. Robbie Dale in the national colours. He's